Welcome to the Deep Dive, the show where we take a stack of incredible sources and, well, extract the most important nuggets of knowledge just for you. Today, I want to invite you to step back with us and truly consider something profound. How just a handful of pivotal moments throughout history have fundamentally redefined human civilization.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff.
We're talking about shifts so monumental, so deeply transformative. They're almost like these cosmic resets in our collective human story. These aren't just, incremental improvements. They are true quantum leaps.
That's the key term, quantum leaps.
Exactly. Our journey today is a deep dive into 10 quantum jumps in innovation, a concept brilliantly articulated by Paramendra Kumar Bhagat in his insightful analysis. And this isn't just going to be a historical rundown, right? It's an exploration of the very bedrock of modern progress.
Precisely.
Our mission for you, our listener, is to give you a genuine shortcut to becoming truly well-informed about how our world, how it came to be. Will illuminate not just what these jumps were, but really why they mattered so profoundly. Hopefully leading to those satisfying aha moments about how seemingly disparate innovations actually connect.
Yeah, seeing those connections is key.
Right, connections that form this complex, captivating tapestry of human history. Prepare to have your understanding of progress, maybe fundamentally reshaped.
And what's truly fascinating in the source material, as you touched on, is the emphasis that these aren't just, say, technological shifts. They're deep, pervasive societal transformations. Each of these jumps really unlocked previously inconceivable possibilities, not just in terms of what we could build or, buy, but in how we organize our lives, how we work, even how we connect with each other.
So it's much broader than just the tech itself.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the profound ripple effects that fundamentally altered how societies operate at every single level. And that, more than anything, is what defines them as quantum jumps.
Okay, let's truly unpack this then. Our source sets the stage really beautifully, framing certain innovations as literally redefining the trajectory of civilization. When we talk about quantum leaps in innovation, we're really looking beyond, a shiny new gadget or a minor tweak to an existing process.
I like it's bigger picture thinking.
We're discussing fundamental shifts that didn't just improve things slightly, but propelled entire societies into entirely new paradigms of thought, productivity, and human interaction. I mean, just think about the scope here. From the very first seeds of settled human life,
Going way back.
all the way to the rapid interconnected innovations of the 20th and 21st centuries. Things like the digital revolution, the internet, artificial intelligence, and even the emerging field of quantum computing. It's a vast sweep of human ingenuity.
Indeed. Each of these innovations was a catalyst. They enabled societies to operate with vastly greater efficiency, to organize themselves in more complex and specialized ways, and crucially, to explore entirely new modes of existence.
New ways of living, basically.
Exactly. Before these quantum jumps, certain concepts were simply beyond imagination. Consider something as commonplace today as, say, a global economy.
Right, we take it for granted.
Or communicating instantly with someone on the other side of the planet. Or even a factory that operates almost entirely without human hands. These were once the stuff of pure science fiction. Until these leaps made them tangible realities. This unlocking of previously inconceivable possibilities is what truly sets them apart as profound, civilization-altering shifts.
Okay, so here's where our journey really begins to reveal its foundational layers. The source immediately takes us back, way back, about 12,000 years,
Wow.
to approximately 10,000 BCE for the agricultural revolution. This wasn't just a turning point, it was arguably the turning point for human society.
It's hard to overstate its importance.
Before this, just try to imagine human life. A constant, arduous, nomadic chase for survival. Hunter-gatherers followed herds, picked seasonal fruits. Their entire existence was dictated by nature's whims, really.
Completely dependent.
But with the advent of domestication, learning to cultivate plants and tame animals, everything changed. It was a profound, irreversible shift from those hunter-gatherer societies to settled agricultural communities.
A total paradigm shift.
It wasn't just about ensuring a consistent food supply, which, in itself was monumental. It laid the very groundwork for civilization as we understand it.
Absolutely.
This stability enabled population growth, it spurred the birth of the first towns and cities, and perhaps most crucially, it forged the very foundation of trade and commerce. Think about it. The ability to generate a surplus, That meant you could finally stay in one place, build permanent structures, and specialize in tasks beyond just finding your next meal.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, before this shift, human survival was entirely dependent on what nature provided. That inherently mandated a nomadic, subsistence-level existence.
Right, just getting by day to day.
Consider the sheer limitations of that life. Population density was incredibly low because, well, any given area could only support a limited number of hunter-gatherers. You had to keep moving.
Makes sense.
Social structures tended to be highly egalitarian, driven more by immediate communal necessity rather than complex hierarchy.
Everyone pulling together.
And cultural practices were deeply intertwined with the immediate natural world. Knowledge was passed down orally, making it vulnerable to loss over time.
Yeah.
This naturally raises an important question. What exactly prompted such a radical, almost unthinkable change after hundreds of thousands of years of this established hunter-gatherer way of life?
Yeah, why then? What was the trigger?
Well, the source points to several interconnected factors that kind of converge to create this seismic shift. A primary driver was the dramatic climatic changes happening at the end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago. This period, known as the Holocene epoch, brought a more stable, warmer, and wetter climate globally.
Oh, okay. Better conditions.
Right. This new climate made specific regions, like the iconic Fertile Crescent in the Middle East, particularly conducive to the growth of wild grasses with large, edible seeds, and also for supporting herds of animals that were easier to domesticate.
So the environment played a huge role.
A massive role. Secondly, there was increasing population density in certain areas. As human groups grew larger, existing wild resources came under pressure. Hunting large game maybe became less reliable, and simply gathering wild plants couldn't sustain growing communities. This pressure kind of nudged humans towards more deliberate manipulation of their environment.
Necessity being the mother of invention, perhaps?
Perhaps. And finally, crucial cultural and technological advancements were at play. We saw the development of more efficient tools, like sickles with sharp flint blades for harvesting grains, or grinding stones for processing plants into flour.
Better tools making things easier.
And people were simply gaining a deeper, more sophisticated understanding of the life cycles of plants and animals. This allowed them to experiment with and ultimately control these processes for their benefit.
So let's dive into the key innovations of this period. What were they specifically?
Okay, the most obvious one, of course, is the domestication of plants and animals. Early domesticated crops were chosen for their high caloric yield, ease of cultivation, and storability. Think of staples like wheat and barley in the Near East, rice in Asia, and maize over in the Americas, along with various legumes.
The foundations of our modern diet, really.
Absolutely. And for animals, sheep, goats, cattle, and pigs were paramount. They provided not just reliable sources of food and milk, but also hides for clothing, bones for tools, and critically, their muscle power for labor in farming, like pulling plows.
That's a huge advantage, the animal labor.
Huge. Beyond initial domestication, early farmers developed increasingly sophisticated irrigation and water management techniques. This involved building canals, ditches, reservoirs, all to divert and store water. This allowed cultivation in drier regions and ensured more consistent yields, regardless of rainfall patterns. It expanded the amount of farmable land significantly.
Clever stuff.
And tool development also accelerated dramatically. Innovations like the simple digging stick evolving into plows to till the soil more efficiently, hoes to weed, grinding stones to process grains, all these vastly increased the efficiency of food production. Less human effort for greater output.
Makes sense.
And of course, the most tangible outcome was the establishment of permanent settlements. Early villages like Jericho, dating way back to 9000 BCE.
Wow, that's ancient.
And Çatalhöyük, in modern-day Turkey, emerging around 7500 BCE, are incredible examples. These weren't just temporary campsites. They were complex communities with actual dwellings, dedicated storage facilities for grain, communal spaces, demonstrating a whole new level of social organization.
So what were the knock-on effects, the social and economic consequences?
Oh, they were truly profound and fundamentally altered human society. With a more stable and predictable food supply, agriculture could support significantly larger populations. That led directly to the development of towns and eventually the first true cities.
Population boom.
Right. This food surplus also became the bedrock for social stratification. See, not everyone needed to be involved in food production anymore. This allowed for specialization into roles that were previously impossible. We saw the emergence of artisans crafting tools and pottery, scribes managing records, traders facilitating exchange.
A division of labor.
Exactly. and distinct classes of leaders and administrators emerged. Now, while this created more complex, organized societies, it also inevitably led to disparities in wealth and power, as those who controlled land or surpluses gained influence.
The beginnings of inequality, perhaps.
Essentially, yes. Trade networks expanded significantly beyond simple bartering. They started involving the exchange of agricultural products, specialized tools, even luxury items like obsidian or precious stones, connecting distant communities in complex interdependencies.
Globalization's earliest roots.
You could argue that. And then there's the revolutionary concept of land ownership. Agriculture introduced the idea that individuals and families could claim and defend specific plots of land for cultivation.
That's a big one.
Huge implications for social organization. It created concepts of inheritance, property rights, and, unfortunately, often led to fierce conflicts over resources and territory. It really laid the groundwork for warfare as we know it.
And culturally, ideologically, how did this change how people thought?
Well, the human relationship with the environment underwent a fundamental shift. From being reliant on nature, humans now sought to control and, frankly, exploit it for their benefit.
A shift in mindset.
Definitely. Religious narratives began to reflect this, emphasizing human dominion over nature and linking agricultural success to divine favor. Monumental structures, like those found at Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, which actually predate organized agriculture but often linked to the transition, suggest a deep connection between these societal shifts, new religious practices, and burgeoning social organization.
Fascinating.
And perhaps most importantly for our next quantum jump, the need to manage burgeoning agricultural surpluses, track goods, and administer growing populations directly spurred the early need for writing systems and formal record-keeping.
The connection.
Exactly. Early scripts, like the proto-cuneiform of Mesopotamia, were used almost exclusively to document transactions, land ownership, harvests, providing a crucial administrative foundation for modern bureaucracies. Of course, it wasn't all positive. There were significant environmental impacts, too. Widespread deforestation for farmland, long-term soil degradation from continuous cultivation, loss of biodiversity.
Right, the downsides.
Salinization from early, poorly managed irrigation systems also became an issue. And some modern critiques argue that while it fed more people, it might have also led to greater social inequality, increased physical labor demands for the average person, and even a decline in overall health due to narrower diets and closer proximity to animals and their diseases.
Important caveats.
Absolutely. But despite these vital critiques, its pivotal and foundational role in shaping human history is just undeniable.
That's a truly humbling perspective on just how much that first leap reshaped us. And building right on those settled societies that agriculture enabled, our next quantum jump is equally monumental. And indeed, as you said, directly necessitated by the complexity that agricultural surpluses created, the invention of writing.
The next logical step, in many ways.
I mean, just think about it. How on earth do you manage a complex society with large populations, specialized labor, sophisticated trade networks, taxation, without a reliable system of record-keeping?
It becomes practically impossible.
This innovation, beginning with the development of written scripts like cuneiform and hieroglyphics, was absolutely essential. Its impact was immediate and far-reaching. It enabled precise record-keeping, allowed for incredibly complex administration across vast distances, and truly marked the birth of formalized trade and sophisticated financial systems. It transformed the ephemeral, fleeting spoken word into something permanent, shareable, and verifiable.
You've hit on the core challenge of the pre-writing era right there. Before writing, all knowledge laws, historical accounts, complex stories relied entirely on oral traditions.
Storytelling, essentially.
Exactly. And while these traditions were incredibly rich culturally, think of epic poems recited over generations, they were also inherently fragile and incredibly limited in scope, especially for the needs of growing, increasingly complex societies. Imagine trying to pass down intricate legal codes, detailed land ownership records, or precise trade agreements accurately across generations, purely by memory.
Errors would creep in constantly.
Highly susceptible to distortion, misinterpretation, or complete loss. This limitation created an immense bottleneck for societal complexity, administrative scale, and even the accumulation of knowledge, as information could only travel as far as a person could speak or remember.
So how did writing actually emerge? What were the first systems like?
Well, the source meticulously details the birth of writing through two primary groundbreaking systems. First, cuneiform, developed by the Sumerians in Mesopotamia around 3200 BCE. It's widely regarded as the world's first true writing system. It began as simple pictograms, drawings, representing objects, inscribed into soft clay tablets, which were then baked, making them incredibly durable.
Pictures on clay. Simple enough.
But over time, these pictograms gradually evolved into more abstract wedge-shaped symbols, hence cuneiform, which means wedge-shaped. Initially, its purpose was incredibly utilitarian, primarily for accounting and economic record-keeping.
Tracking goods and taxes.
Precisely. Documenting transactions, inventories of goods, tax collections. But as its utility was recognized, it expanded to encompass legal codes, like the famous Code of Hammurabi from the 18th century BCE.
Ah, yes, an eye for an eye.
That's the one. And even sophisticated literature, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the earliest surviving works of literature.
Amazing. And the Egyptians.
Around the same time, the Egyptians developed hieroglyphics. This system was unique in its combination of pictorial and phonetic elements. Some symbols represented entire concepts, while others represented sounds. It was used for both practical administrative purposes and grand ceremonial uses, appearing prominently on monuments, temple walls, and in the elaborate tombs of pharaohs.
Very visible, very symbolic.
Very. And papyrus, a durable paper-like material made from reeds, became a key medium for hieroglyphics, allowing for more portable documents than heavy clay tablets. Hieroglyphics retained strong visual and symbolic qualities that deeply reflected Egypt's unique cultural ethos and religious beliefs.
So it wasn't just about keeping records then.
Oh, far from it. The functions of writing quickly expanded, becoming absolutely fundamental to the structure of complex societies. It was instrumental in facilitating the development of sophisticated bureaucracies. Laws, decrees, administrative policies could be codified, ensuring consistency and fairness across large territories, enabling states to govern much more efficiently.
Standardization.
Right. For trade and financial systems, writing enabled the creation of formal contracts, detailed inventories, standardized receipts. Mesopotamian merchants, for instance, used cuneiform tablets to document vast networks of trade agreements and manage complex accounts across distances, a level of economic sophistication unimaginable before.
Building trust through records.
Precisely. And crucially, writing also became a permanent repository for cultural knowledge. Myths, religious texts like the Egyptian Book of the Dead, medical treatises, early scientific observations, historical records. They could all be meticulously written down and preserved for future generations, creating an enduring legacy that oral traditions simply couldn't guarantee.
So how did this impact society more broadly? State formation, social structure?
Immensely.
Yeah.
It directly fueled urbanization and state formation. Writing enabled the centralized administration of large populations and extensive territories. Think efficient tax collection, organized deployment of labor for massive public works like pyramids or irrigation systems, overall strategic planning.
The nuts and bolts of running a state.
Exactly. It also undeniably led to social stratification. The ability to read and write became a highly specialized and valued skill, often confined to a privileged few.
The scribal class.
Right. Scribes, scholars, priests held powerful and respected positions, acting as custodians of knowledge and administrators of the state. This also meant that the expansion of knowledge accelerated dramatically. Early scientific, mathematical, medical texts could be accumulated, critiqued, disseminated, transforming how societies understood the natural world, leading to advances in astronomy, engineering, medicine.
And what about language itself? Did writing change language?
Profoundly, according to the source. Written systems preserve linguistic structures and vocabulary, providing a stable, standardized framework for communication across generations and regions. This standardization, while initially maybe limiting access, eventually paved the way for more accessible phonetic scripts, like the Phoenician alphabet, which radically simplified writing and ultimately enabled broader literacy much later on.
Interesting. Were there downsides? Critiques?
Sure. Early writing often reinforced existing social hierarchies, as literacy was primarily an elite privilege. It also, in some ways, marginalized the rich oral traditions that had been central to culture before.
A loss of something, too.
Potentially. And the fragility of early materials like papyrus or the sheer bulk of clay tablets posed significant challenges for preservation. But really, these are minor considerations when weighed against the undeniable foundational impact of writing on human civilization.
It's incredible how that second leap, writing, builds so directly on the first, agriculture, creating a foundation for so much more complexity. Now let's fast forward many, many centuries. Jump ahead to the 18th and 19th centuries, and we hit another truly seismic shift, the Industrial Revolution.
A big one. Everyone learns about this one.
Right. This one really didn't just change the landscape, it reshaped entire continents and fundamentally altered how we live and work, quite literally down to the rhythm of our days.
Absolutely.
Before this, economies were predominantly agrarian, production was labor-intensive, relying on simple tools, localized cottage industries.
Small scale.
Demand for goods was growing, sure, but traditional methods simply couldn't keep pace. The Industrial Revolution brought a radical mechanization of production, largely powered by steam and eventually electricity. The impact? Nothing short of revolutionary. Massive increases in productivity, rapid urbanization as people flocked from farms to new factory towns.
Often under pretty grim conditions.
True. And the dramatic development of modern capitalism and truly global trade networks. The world, in many ways, began to shrink as goods and ideas traveled faster than ever before.
You've captured the essence perfectly. This period marked an almost complete departure from agrarian economies. The pressure had indeed been building in the pre-industrial world. Traditional craftsmanship and cottage industries, where goods were produced at home, simply couldn't meet the needs of a growing population with increasing consumer demand. This was the true tipping point.
So what were the key innovations that drove it?
The source highlights a confluence of key innovations. At its heart was steam power, driven by James Watt's vastly improved steam engine. This wasn't just a clever invention, it was a flexible mobile power source. It could be applied to industrial machinery, transportation like locomotives and steamships, manufacturing processes. It liberated factories from reliance on water power, allowing them to be built basically anywhere coal was available.
Location independence, almost.
To a degree, yes. Then came widespread mechanization. Specific examples like James Hargreaves' spinning jenny and Edmund Cartwright's power loom revolutionized textile production. The spinning jenny allowed a single worker to operate multiple spindles, dramatically increasing yarn output. The power loom mechanized weaving, reducing time and labor. Eli Whitney's cotton gin made cotton processing vastly more efficient.
Huge boosts in efficiency.
These machines weren't just faster. They standardized production and allowed for economies of scale. Advancements in metallurgy, particularly Henry Bessemer's process for mass-producing steel cheaply, were critical. Steel was stronger, more versatile than iron, essential for building the new, larger machinery, more resilient infrastructure, and especially the rapidly expanding railway networks.
The backbone of the revolution.
Definitely. In transportation, the synergy of canals, steam-powered railways, and steamships allowed for unprecedented efficient movement of raw materials to factories and finished goods to markets, connecting distant regions and fueling an explosion in economic expansion.
Connecting everything up.
And crucially, communication saw a significant jump with Samuel Morse's telegraph, enabling near-instantaneous information exchange across vast distances, vital for coordinating global commerce and, well, empires.
So what were the underlying drivers? Why Britain? Why then?
It was a complex interplay of factors. Abundant natural resources, especially vast coal and iron ore reserves in Britain, provided the raw materials and the energy source for steam. The burgeoning growth of capitalism and supportive economic policies in countries like Britain, which promoted free trade, entrepreneurship, innovation, they created a highly conducive environment. Governments and private investors were willing to finance massive industrial ventures.
Money and policy aligning.
Right. Scientific advancements from the Enlightenment fostered a culture of experimentation and applied science, leading directly to many technological breakthroughs. And significantly, population growth in the 18th century provided a surplus labor force. As agricultural productivity improved, fewer people were needed on farms, leading to a migration to urban centers where factories offered work, albeit often harsh work.
A perfect storm of conditions. So the impacts, social, economic, they must have been huge.
Transformative. There was an unprecedented mass migration from rural agrarian areas to rapidly growing urban centers. Cities like Manchester, Birmingham just exploded in size, but their infrastructure often couldn't keep pace. This led to severe overcrowding, unsanitary conditions, the emergence of industrial slums, posing immense challenges for public health and order.
The dark side of progress.
Absolutely. While mechanization dramatically increased efficiency and output, leading to immense wealth creation and expanding markets, it also undeniably deepened social inequalities. Factory owners and industrialists amassed colossal fortunes, becoming a new elite, while the majority of workers endured grueling conditions, incredibly low wages, excessively long hours, often 12, 16 hours a day, 6 days a week, dangerous machinery, poor sanitation.
Grim reality for many.
This suffering directly led to the rise of labor unions and workers' rights movements, advocating for better conditions. Global trade networks expanded exponentially, integrating economies worldwide. But this often had a dual effect. Bringing new goods, yes, but also displacing traditional industries elsewhere and fueling colonial expansion for resources.
And culturally,
Yeah,
intellectually, how did people react?
it brought about the rise of a pervasive consumer culture, as mass-produced goods became more affordable and widely available. The importance of education and technical skills became paramount, leading to engineering schools, apprenticeships focused on industrial needs. Art and literature also responded powerfully. The Romantic movement, for example, emerged partly as a critique of industrialization's impact on nature and the human spirit, often glorifying pastoral landscapes.
A pushback.
Definitely. Writers like Charles Dickens vividly highlighted the social issues, the poverty, the inequality stemming from rapid industrialization in works like Oliver Twist and Hard Times.
Holding a mirror up to society.
Exactly. And of course, there were significant challenges and critiques beyond the social ones. Widespread environmental degradation was an immediate consequence. Dense smog from coal burning, water pollution from industrial waste, rapid deforestation.
Environmental costs we're still dealing with.
Worker exploitation was rampant, leading to violent clashes. And it exacerbated global inequalities as industrialized nations gained immense power and wealth, often through colonial resource extraction. The Industrial Revolution offers crucial lessons for today, balancing technological progress with environmental sustainability and proactively addressing social inequalities. Those are vital considerations for any future innovation.
That's a powerful reminder of how innovation is never just about the tech itself, but its ripple effects. And just as the Industrial Revolution was really picking up steam, another force was being harnessed that would literally light up the world, and indeed power so much of what came next: electricity.
Ah, yes. The age of light and power.
This is where the world really starts to feel modern, isn't it? Where the shift from a dimly lit, largely manual existence truly takes hold. Before widespread electricity, illumination was hazardous open flames from candles, oil lamps, gaslight. Fire risks, limited light.
And power was geographically constrained, dependent on flowing water, wind, or direct human and animal labor.
Right. Early scientific minds like Benjamin Franklin, Volta, Michael Faraday laid the crucial scientific groundwork, understanding electrical current. But the true quantum jump was taking that theoretical understanding and harnessing electricity for massive industrial and domestic use.
Making it practical.
Exactly. This revolutionized everything from factories to communication, fundamentally altering daily life with innovations like the practical light bulb, incredibly efficient electric motors, and entirely new forms of telecommunications.
What's truly fascinating here, and what the source highlights, is how those theoretical scientific principles were painstakingly transformed into tangible, widely applicable technology. The most symbolic, maybe the most pervasive breakthrough, was Thomas Edison's practical incandescent light bulb in 1879.
The iconic light bulb moment.
Kind of. While others had worked on electric light, Edison's real genius lay not just in refining the bulb itself to be long-lasting and efficient, but in integrating it into an entire commercially viable electrical generation and distribution system. That made widespread adoption feasible, extending working hours into the night and vastly improving safety by replacing fire-based lighting.
The whole system mattered.
Absolutely. Then came electric motors, pioneered by figures like Nikola Tesla and others. These motors were a game changer. They offered a clean, efficient, easily distributable power source that could replace cumbersome steam engines in factories. They led to more flexible factory layouts, enhanced automation, and eventually revolutionized transportation with electric trains and trolleys, especially in cities.
Cleaner, more flexible power.
Right. And in communication, electricity was foundational for Samuel Morse's telegraph back in 1837 and Alexander Graham Bell's telephone in 1876. The telegraph allowed messages almost instantly across vast distances using electrical signals. The telephone added the revolutionary dimension of real-time voice, further shrinking perceived distances.
Connecting the world electrically.
And the widespread adoption of electricity necessitated building a vast, robust infrastructure. This included developing diverse methods for power generation, from early hydroelectric plants like the one at Niagara Falls in 1895,
Iconic.
to the widespread construction of coal-fired thermal plants that became the backbone of electricity supply. Crucially, the modern electrical grid was shaped by the intense current wars.
Edison versus Tesla.
That's the one. The rivalry between Edison's direct current, DC, and Tesla's alternating current, AC. Tesla's AC ultimately won out for its superior efficiency over long distances and ease of voltage transformation, allowing for widespread economical distribution.
AC won the war.
It did. Cities rapidly became hubs of electrification. Electric streetlights transformed urban landscapes. Electric tram systems revolutionized urban transit. Electricity also spurred the creation of a vast array of household appliances: electric stoves, refrigerators, washing machines, vacuum cleaners.
Changing home life dramatically.
Dramatically improved daily life for millions, particularly women, by reducing domestic labor and fostering a new consumer culture around convenience.
So socially, economically, what were the big impacts?
Profound. In industry, electricity led to unprecedented productivity gains. Factories could operate around the clock, machines could be precisely controlled, automation became a real possibility. Enormous increases in output and efficiency. Electrification further spurred urbanization as industries gravitated towards reliable power sources and people migrated to electrified areas for new jobs and improved living standards.
Main cities more attractive.
Right. The quality of life improved significantly from many reduced fire hazards, convenience of appliances, new entertainment like cinemas and radios becoming accessible. Economically, the electrical industry itself created vast new jobs: engineers, electricians, manufacturing workers, and it dramatically boosted global trade by enabling more efficient production and communication. However, there were significant challenges.
Always, but
Always. Initial access to electricity was highly unequal, created a stark urban-rural divide, exacerbated economic disparities due to high infrastructure costs. Environmental concerns also arose from the reliance on coal-fired power plants, increased air pollution, resource depletion.
the fossil fuel dependence began early.
It did, and the consolidation of the industry into powerful monopolies raised serious issues of price control, fair competition, public access. Despite these challenges, electricity paved the way for nearly every subsequent technological advancement: computing, renewable energy, fundamentally laying the foundation for the digital age.
That's a powerful point about how one innovation becomes the bedrock for the next. Speaking of connection, our next quantum jump is tightly linked to electricity's story, but it was truly the invention that started to shrink the world overnight: the telephone.
Mr. Watson, come here.
Exactly. I often wonder what life was like before real-time voice communication became possible across distances. Before Alexander Graham Bell's invention in 1876, long-distance communication was inherently slow, cumbersome. You had letters taking days or weeks, couriers, or the electric telegraph. The telegraph, while a huge step, had limitations. Required skilled operators, only transmitted text.
Morse code, yeah. Not exactly a conversation.
Right. The telephone, however, was an absolute game changer. Bell's invention truly revolutionized communication, enabling instant, direct voice connectivity over long distances, and crucially, laying the foundational groundwork for the vast, intricate, modern communication networks we now take completely for granted.
This really raises that important question again. What did the telephone offer that was fundamentally different, that justified calling it a quantum jump? As you said, it was real-time voice, the ability to hear another person's tone, inflection, immediate reactions.
In that human element.
Exactly. The source details Bell's fascinating background as a teacher of the deaf, his interest in acoustics, speech mechanics, the milestone event, March 10th, 1876. First intelligible sentence: "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." While there was significant patent controversy with others, like Elisha Gray, Bell's design ultimately proved superior practically. Early phones converted sound waves to electrical signals via a transmitter. Signals traveled over wire, reconverted a sound via a receiver.
Simple principle, revolutionary result.
Initial sound quality was often poor, but refinements, like Edison's carbon microphone transmitter, significantly improved clarity and range.
So how quickly did it catch on?
Early adoption wasn't without skepticism. Many saw it as a novelty initially, but its practicality quickly became undeniable. The crucial role of telephone exchanges, first established in the 1880s, was paramount. These central switchboards, initially operated by humans, allowed multiple users to connect, forming the first scalable communication networks.
The operator era.
Right. Innovations in materials like metallic circuits, insulating materials for wires, allowed for significant extension of long-distance lines, connecting cities, eventually continents. The Bell Telephone Company rapidly came to dominate the early industry through aggressive expansion and patent control.
Building a monopoly.
Pretty much. The societal impacts were immense. The telephone fundamentally transformed personal connections, allowing families and friends to maintain relationships across previously prohibitive distances. For business, its impact was immediate and dramatic. Vastly increased efficiency coordinating operations, negotiating deals in real time, instant customer inquiries, rapid decisions, all accelerating commerce.
Speeding everything up.
It also acted as a powerful catalyst for economic growth, creating entirely new sectors and jobs operators, linemen, engineers, equipment manufacturers. It played a significant role in urbanization, improving communication for city planning, emergency response, making cities more manageable.
And how did the technology itself evolve over time?
Oh, a remarkable journey. It transitioned from purely analog systems, rotary dials, electromechanical switches to digital networks with touch-tone phones and automated digital switching, vastly increasing capacity and speed. The advent of wireless communication, starting with bulky early mobile phones in the 80s, rapidly evolving into modern smartphones, untethered communication entirely.
From the wall to the pocket.
Exactly. And the rise of the internet further disrupted and integrated telephone tech with voice over internet protocol, or VoIP, voice communication over digital networks at drastically reduced costs. Think Skype, Zoom.
Changing the game again.
Globally, the telephone was pivotal for economic integration, allowing multinational corporations to coordinate seamlessly, fostered unprecedented cultural exchange, became a critical tool in disaster response. However, challenges did emerge. Concerns over privacy mounted. Monopolistic practices by companies like Bell raised questions about consumer choice, fair pricing, and the persistent digital divide meant access was initially limited.
Access inequality again.
A recurring theme. Despite these issues, its legacy is clear. The fundamental principles underpin nearly every modern telecommunication system, an enduring symbol of humanity's drive to connect.
It's astonishing to consider how deeply ingrained the telephone became, almost an extension of ourselves, before the next wave hit. All right, get ready for a revolution that most of us are not just living through, but are fundamentally shaped by every single day, the digital revolution.
The one we're currently swimming in.
Totally. This one didn't just redefine things. It entirely rebuilt the framework of how we interact with information and each other. The source points to its foundations in the mid-20th century, Babbage's analytical engine, Turing's theoretical machine, wartime contributions like Colossus, ENIAC, massive room-sized computers.
Science in their day.
But the true quantum jump here was the widespread advent of miniaturized computers, semiconductors, digital technology itself. This wasn't just faster calculations, it was a fundamental shift from clumsy, imprecise analog systems to infinitely precise, scalable digital systems. And this, quite literally, transformed every industry through massive data processing, sophisticated automation, and ultimately led to the creation of the internet itself.
You're absolutely right. This deep dive shows us that while the conceptual seeds were sown early, the real explosion came with a series of crucial enabling technologies. The invention of the transistor in 1947 by Bardeen, Bratton, and Shockley at Bell Labs was monumental. This tiny semiconductor replaced bulky, power-hungry Fragile vacuum tubes, making smaller, more efficient, reliable electronic devices possible.
Miniaturization begins.
This directly led to integrated circuits, ICs, by Jack Kilby and Robert Noyce in the late 50s, early 60s. ICs allowed multiple transistors on a single silicon chip, unprecedented miniaturization, dramatic increase in processing power, Moore's law in action.
More power, smaller package.
Right. The fundamental shift from analog to digital was also critical. Widespread adoption of binary code, zeros and ones, as the universal language for information, allowing perfect replication and manipulation of data. Alongside this came innovations in digital storage, like magnetic tape, later the hard drive, enabling vast amounts of data to be stored and accessed rapidly.
So what were the key digital innovations that really drove the revolution for everyday people?
Okay, several stand out. First, the emergence of personal computers. Starting in the 70s with machines like the Altair 8800, gaining mainstream traction with the Apple II in 77, the IBM PC in 81. These brought computing power onto desktops, democratizing access. The graphical user interface, GUI, pioneered at Xerox PORTs, famously popularized by Apple's Macintosh in 84, revolutionized interaction, replacing complex text commands with intuitive icons and menus, making computing accessible to non-technical users.
Point and click changes everything.
Totally. Then came the internet. Origins in ARPANET, yes, but it was Tim Berners-Lee's invention of the World Wide Web in 1989, that user-friendly system of interlinked hypertext documents that truly unleashed its potential for the masses. This rapidly led to e-commerce platforms like Amazon and eBay in the mid-90s, transforming how we shop. Mobile and wireless technology evolved rapidly, too, from early mobile phones to Wi-Fi and sophisticated cellular networks, extending digital reach almost anywhere.
Taking it mobile.
And importantly, the very beginnings of automation and artificial intelligence started to emerge. Industrial robots taking on repetitive tasks, early machine learning applications beginning to analyze data.
How did this transform specific industries? Can you give some concrete examples?
Oh, absolutely. It's transformed industries across the board. In manufacturing, computer-aided design, CAD, revolutionized product design, complex 3D modeling, simulations, faster prototyping. Smart factories now integrate data-driven decision-making. Healthcare saw advancements like high-resolution MRI and CT scans for vastly improved diagnostics. Telemedicine, facilitated by digital communication, allows remote consultation.
Huge changes there.
In education, e-learning platforms like Coursera, Khan Academy democratized access to knowledge globally. Digital classrooms integrate interactive tools. For finance, digital banking became commonplace. Faster transactions, convenience. Cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin presented entirely new, decentralized financial systems. And in transportation, digital systems power everything from advanced air traffic control to autonomous vehicles, AI-optimized traffic management systems.
It's everywhere. What about the societal impacts? How did it change us?
Profoundly, digital technology reshaped communication and social interaction. Rise of social media platforms connecting billions globally, fostering vast online communities transcending geography. It utterly redefined work. Explosion of remote work, allowing collaboration across continents. Automation of routine tasks, theoretically freeing humans for more creative roles.
The future of work debate.
Exactly. Cultural consumption transformed, moving from physical media to streaming services. Empowering user-generated content platforms like YouTube, TikTok. Anyone can be a creator. However, this revolution also brought significant challenges. The digital divide persists. Unequal access to technology and internet connectivity exacerbates socioeconomic inequalities.
Still a major issue.
Privacy and security became paramount concerns. Widespread data surveillance, constant threat of cyber attacks, need to protect personal info. And the environmental impact is growing. Massive heat waves, colossal energy consumption of data centers.
The hidden costs.
Despite these vital challenges, the legacy is clear. Unprecedented individual empowerment, global connectivity, and a relentless pace of continuous innovation that shows no signs of slowing down.
That's a powerful and incredibly relevant overview, as so much of our daily lives are now digital. And while the digital revolution set the underlying technological stage, it was the internet revolution, especially bursting through in the 1990s, that truly took that foundation and scaled it globally, making information accessible in ways we never before thought possible.
Right. This was about making digital tech truly ubiquitous and user-friendly for the masses, moving it from the specialist desk to everyone's home, essentially.
Exactly. The rapid development of the World Wide Web and global connectivity democratized access to information on an unprecedented scale. It enabled the explosion of e-commerce, ignited the social media phenomenon, even birthed entirely new business models like the gig economy.
It fundamentally altered the global socioeconomic landscape, making the world feel simultaneously smaller and infinitely larger in a way.
So how did we get from ARPANET to the web we know today?
Well, this jump is distinct because it focused on unleashing the practical, everyday potential of that underlying digital infrastructure. ARPANET and TCP/IP were the early foundations, built for robust network communication. But it was Tim Berners-Lee's invention of the World Wide Web in 1989 that truly made the internet accessible and user-friendly. His key innovations were hypertext, clickable links, URLs, web addresses, and HTTP, the protocol for browsers and servers to communicate.
The basic building blocks.
The public launch in 1991 sparked widespread adoption. Crucial technologies followed. Web browsers like Mosaic in '93, making the web visual and easy to navigate, the Netscape Navigator. Search engines like early ones Yahoo, AltaVista streamlined information retrieval, but it was Google's algorithmic dominance by '98 that revolutionized how we found information online.
Finding the needle in the haystack.
Right. E-commerce platforms like Amazon and eBay, both founded in '95, profoundly reshaped retail and peer-to-peer commerce. Convenience, vast selection. Even the foundations for social networking were laid with early sites like GeoCities, online forums, instant messaging.
The precursors to Facebook and Twitter.
Exactly. Setting the stage.
And the impact on information and communication.
Revolutionary. Truly democratized access to information globally, online libraries, educational resources, real-time journalism bypassing traditional gatekeepers, global communication transformed by email, rapidly replacing traditional mail for many later instant messaging platforms like ICQ enabled real-time text conversations across continents.
How about business, e-commerce, gig economy?
Huge transformation. The e-commerce boom brought unparalleled convenience and access to global markets for businesses of all sizes. The gig economy flourished. Freelance platforms like Upwork, connecting remote workers with projects, ride-sharing like Uber fundamentally altering urban transport and employment. Digital marketing evolved rapidly. SEO became critical. Social media advertising offered new ways to target consumers.
And culturally,
Wow.
society.
Created vast, interconnected online communities, transcending geography, fostering incredible cultural exchange. Profoundly transformed entertainment. Napster, disrupting music via file sharing. YouTube empowering user-generated video content, launching new media forms. The internet also became a powerful tool for political activism and social movements, enabling grassroots campaigns to organize rapidly, amplifying marginalized voices globally.
But again, the downsides, the challenges.
Significant ones we still grapple with. The digital divide persisted, sometimes widened. Privacy and security concerns became even more pronounced. Data breaches, surveillance, cyber threats. Critically, the internet's open nature enabled rapid spread of misinformation and fake news, leading to polarization, erosion of trust.
A huge problem today.
And issues like online harassment, cyberbullying became pervasive. But its legacy is undeniable. The internet revolution laid the fundamental groundwork for nearly all-pervasive connectivity today, IoT, 5G networks. And it remains the primary driving force of the global digital economy.
It's clear how much the internet revolutionized access and connection. Now, let's pivot slightly. Let's talk about a quantum jump that, while perhaps less digital and maybe less talked about in everyday tech conversations, was absolutely critical for our very survival as a species, the Green Revolution.
Yes. Back to agriculture, but in the modern era.
Exactly. This deep dive reminds us that true innovation isn't just about shiny new tech or faster communication. By the mid-20th century, we faced a stark reality, a genuine Malthusian dilemma. Rapid population growth was outpacing agricultural production.
Threatening widespread famine.
Right, especially post-World War II. Traditional farming methods, low yields, vulnerability to pests simply couldn't keep up. The Green Revolution quite literally kept millions, maybe billions, from starvation through groundbreaking advances in agricultural science, primarily high-yield crops and widespread use of synthetic fertilizers. Its impact was massive, alleviating food shortages, enabling continued population growth, fostering greater global stability.
Indeed, the global context of rapid population growth and pervasive food insecurity post-WWII really set the stage for this urgent innovation. Traditional farming just wasn't cutting it anymore. The cornerstone was the development of high-yield crop varieties, HYVs, of staple grains like wheat, rice, maize. Dr. Norman Borlaug, the father of the Green Revolution, played an absolutely critical role.
Nobel Peace Prize winner, right.
That's him. He developed disease-resistant, semi-dwarf, highly responsive wheat varieties that could produce dramatically more grain under optimal conditions, led to incredible output increases in Mexico, India, the Philippines, transforming them from food importers to self-sufficient nations.
Amazing turnaround.
Alongside HYVs, widespread application of synthetic nitrogen-based fertilizers and chemical pesticides became essential. Fertilizers provided nutrients for intensive growth. Pesticides protected crops from losses, ensuring greater harvest reliability. Complementary to this was increased mechanization tractors, harvesters making planting graping more efficient, and improved irrigation systems like tube wells, drip irrigation ensuring consistent water supply, crucial for multiple harvests.
A package deal, really.
Pretty much. The global impacts were profoundly positive for food security. Many developing countries, especially in Asia and Latin America, transitioned dramatically from scarcity to self-sufficiency, even becoming net food exporters. This boost in food production significantly contributed to and enabled continued population growth and rapid urbanization by drastically reducing the prevalence of large-scale famines. Economically, increased incomes for farmers adopting these techniques led to rural prosperity in many areas, and surpluses supported industrial development.
But there must have been environmental consequences.
Oh, significant and complex ones. The intensive farming practices, heavy reliance on synthetic fertilizers, led to widespread soil degradation, damaged soil structure, depleted microbial life. Monoculture increased vulnerability to disease, led to erosion. It placed immense strain on water resources. Over-extraction from aquifers caused scarcity. Runoff from fertilizers, pesticides, contaminated rivers, lakes, groundwater.
Water pollution, yeah.
Furthermore, there was a notable loss of biodiversity. As traditional, locally adapted crop varieties were abandoned for a narrower range of HYVs, genetic erosion occurred, making the global food supply potentially more vulnerable. The expansion of farmland also led to habitat destruction.
And socially, economically, were the benefits shared equally?
Often not evenly distributed. Wealthier farmers with access to capital, credit, resources benefited disproportionately compared to smallholders who often couldn't afford the inputs or take the risks. Mechanization and the capital-intensive nature also led to land consolidation. Larger farms became more profitable, marginalizing many small farmers who often incurred crippling debt, leading to displacement, increased rural poverty for some.
Widening the gap.
In some cases, yes, traditional farming practices and indigenous knowledge systems were often sidelined or lost. Despite these vital critiques, its enduring contribution to global food security is clear. It shifted the narrative from mass starvation to feeding billions. And it's certainly spurred ongoing agricultural research, emphasizing the crucial need for future innovation to balance productivity with genuine environmental stewardship, moving towards precision, agriculture, agroecology, climate-resilient crops.
It's a stark reminder that even solutions to dire problems can create new complexities. Okay, now shifting dramatically. From feeding the world to fundamentally changing how we think, how we work, how we even perceive intelligence, we arrive at what many consider the 21st century's defining quantum jump: artificial intelligence and machine learning.
The current frontier, in many ways.
Right. These aren't just intelligent machines in the sci-fi sense. They're algorithms, computational systems that can learn, adapt, make decisions, driven by exponentially growing computational power. Their impact has been nothing short of transformative across virtually every industry: healthcare, finance, enabling unprecedented automation, sophisticated predictive analytics, hyper-personalized services unimaginable even a decade or two ago.
This really raises that important question again. What exactly is AI and machine learning? How did we get here? The source traces AI's conceptual origins to the Dartmouth Conference in 1956, where researchers first proposed machines could simulate human intelligence. Machine learning, ML, a core subset of AI, focuses on enabling machines to learn from data without explicit programming for every task. It evolved from statistical methods to neural networks, models loosely inspired by the human brain.
Learning from data.
Exactly. The real explosion of AML in recent decades came with the convergence of three crucial enabling technologies. First, Moore's law, providing exponential growth in computational power. Second, the proliferation of big data, vast quantities of digital info serving as essential fuel for training models. And third, the scalability and affordability of cloud computing, democratizing access to immense processing power.
Power, data, and access converging.
Right. The key innovations within AML itself are constantly evolving. Deep learning, using neural networks with many layers, has been particularly transformative. We've seen convolutional neural networks, CNNs, revolutionizing image recognition, powering facial recognition, medical image analysis. For understanding language, recurrent neural networks, RNNs, were crucial. And now transformers powering models like OpenAI's GPT, Google's BERT, enables sophisticated chatbots, translation, content generation.
The tech behind ChatGPT and others.
Exactly. And finally, reinforcement learning, where AI learns by trial and error, famously AlphaGo defeating Go champions, has applications in training autonomous systems, robotics, self-driving cars.
So where are we seeing AI applied most impactfully in industries today?
Incredibly rich and pervasive applications. Healthcare, revolutionizing diagnostics via medical image analysis, enabling personalized medicine by analyzing genetic data, streamlining hospital operations. Finance, lightning-fast algorithmic trading, more accurate credit scoring, sophisticated fraud detection, personalized financial advice.
Making finance faster and maybe smarter.
Potentially. In retail commerce, highly effective recommendation engines, Amazon, Netflix, optimized inventory management, customer service chatbots, manufacturing, predictive maintenance, predicting equipment failures, intelligent robotics, supply chain optimization, and transportation. Autonomous vehicles are the most visible, but also AI optimizing traffic flow in smart cities, planning delivery routes.
It really is touching almost everything. What about the societal impacts? The ethics?
Profound. Economically, AML is reshaping economies, creating new jobs while displacing others via automation, leading to productivity gains. However, critical ethical privacy concerns arise. Bias in algorithms is a pervasive issue, can unintentionally perpetuate societal prejudices if trained on biased data. Data privacy is huge. AI often requires vast personal data, raising surveillance security questions. Accountability for AI decisions is complex.
Who's responsible when AI messes up?
Exactly. Risk of global inequalities being exacerbated as advanced AI development is concentrated. Culturally, AI is influencing content creation, art, music, text, changing human interaction, virtual assistants, curated feeds. Challenges also include technical limitations. The black box problem, why did it decide that?
Right.
Regulatory struggles and the environmental impact, carbon footprint of training large models.
Big hurdles still. What's the future look like?
Long-term aim for general AI, human-like cognitive abilities, remains theoretical but researched. AI holds immense potential for climate change mitigation, increasing move towards human-AI collaboration, augmented intelligence, enhancing human capabilities.
Fascinating stuff. Okay, and for our final future-gazing jump, we turn to something still largely in the lab, but with absolutely mind-boggling potential: quantum computing.
The truly deep future tech.
This isn't just cutting edge, it's frontier stuff, pushing the very boundaries of computation and reality. Unlike digital's binary logic, quantum computing harnesses the bizarre rules of quantum mechanics. Its innovation lies in potentially solving problems in cryptography, material science, pharmaceuticals at unprecedented scale, problems utterly intractable for classical computers.
What's truly fascinating here, as the source explains, is the fundamental conceptual leap. Classical computers use binary bits, 0 or 1. Quantum computers use qubits. Qubits leverage incredible quantum phenomena. First, superposition. A qubit can be multiple states simultaneously, like a spinning coin. Second, entanglement. Linked qubits instantaneously know each other's state, regardless of distance.
Bizarre, counterintuitive.
Totally. This fundamental difference unlocks processing power unimaginable classically. Conceptual birth traces to Richard Feynman, 1981, and David Deutsch, 1985.
So how do you actually build one? What are the approaches?
Groundbreaking hardware innovations needed. Source outlines leading approaches. Many current systems use superconducting qubits, tiny circuits needing near absolute zero cooling, IBM, Google. Complex refrigeration needed. Other approaches: trapped ions, atoms suspended by fields IonQ, photonic quantum computing, using light particles, potentially room temp.
Different ways to make a qubit.
On the software side, quantum algorithms are critical. Most famous, Shorer's algorithm, 1994, factors large numbers exponentially faster than classical computers, poses significant threat to current encryption, like RSA. Grover's algorithm offers quadratic speedup for unstructured search, database acceleration. Variational quantum eigensolver, VQE, is a hybrid quantum classical algorithm for molecular simulation, vital for chemistry materials.
So specific algorithms for specific quantum advantages.
Right, a crucial challenge: quantum error correction. Qubits are incredibly fragile, easily lose their state. Researchers developing complex techniques like surface codes to detect correct errors. Monumental engineering challenge.
Keeping those qubits stable is hard. What are the potential killer apps?
Transformative applications, while nascent, are immense. Cryptography, profound threat, breaking current encryption. And AD opportunity, driving development of quantum-safe cryptography. Material science and chemistry, simulate molecular interactions accurately, accelerate drug discovery, design novel materials, superconductors, catalysts, revolutionize batteries.
Designing things at the atomic level.
Exactly. Exceptionally suited for complex optimization problems, supply chain management, logistics, financial modeling, portfolio optimization, and in AI and ML, potentially augment traditional AI, quantum neural networks, leading to breakthroughs in complex pattern recognition.
But the challenges must be huge.
Immense. Technical hurdles: maintaining qubit stability, coherence time, achieving scalability, building systems with millions of stable error-corrected qubits is incredibly difficult. Access and cost: building, maintaining quantum computers extraordinarily expensive, though cloud-based solutions emerging to democratize access. Need for highly skilled workforce.
Need quantum experts.
Societally: potential for economic disruption, major security concerns, encryption breaking, ethical questions about equitable access, misuse prevention.
Right.
Your future: likely hybrid systems. Quantum plus classical. Long-term goal: universal quantum computing, global collaboration key.
Wow. What an absolutely incredible journey we've taken today. From the very first seeds of agriculture rooting us in place to the mind-bending complexity of the quantum realm, we've covered an astonishing amount of ground.
We really have.
It truly brings home the idea that innovation isn't just sporadic. It's this constant, unstoppable, accelerating force within human civilization. Human ingenuity, when faced with a problem or drawn by possibility, consistently finds a way to take that quantum leap.
Indeed. Each of these jumps introduced entirely new paradigms, fundamentally enabling societies to operate more efficiently, organize more complexly, unlock possibilities previously inconceivable. It truly showcases humanity's remarkable capacity for ingenuity and adaptation. And what really stands out as we track these shifts from millennia to centuries, now even decades, is how rapidly these transformations are now occurring.
The pace itself has accelerated.
The pace is not just accelerating, it's a paradigm shift in itself.
That's the real kicker, isn't it? These quantum jumps aren't just historical events in textbooks. They are living, echoing forces shaping our present, defining our future. and the speed.
Mm.
It truly demands our full attention and adaptability.
Absolutely.
So, as you, our listener, reflect on this journey on the accelerating pace of human innovation, what do you think the next truly quantum leap might be? And perhaps even more critically, how prepared are we as a global society to truly adapt to its unprecedented scale and potential impact?